Playing bagpipes in the Scottish countryside is a lifelong dream of Greg Elliot. But he's happy to practice here along the Santa Ana riverbed, far enough away from his Fountain Valley neighbors, just in case.
No one ever kind of liked the bagpipes. Bagpipes are like being pregnant. You are or you aren't. You like it or you don't.
It's a hobby that requires daily practice. So every day, he hops in his 1928 Model T custom hot rod, which is another hobby altogether. Then he plays for an audience of one, his faithful dog Bentley. It's actually a hobby he picked up later in life. Long before bagpipes, his passion was running.
I grew up in Culver City, and I used to run from Culver City down to Santa Monica, which was, 8-9 miles. And you'd body surf all day, and if one of my friends was heading back, I'd hitch a ride. If not, I'd run home.
He became second in the nation in cross country and was the youngest runner invited to train with the world's fastest mile runner, John Landy, for a big race at the LA Coliseum. Greg was beating Landy in the workouts, but just before the big race, he was disqualified when they found out his age.
A couple of days before the race, they called my father and said, "Oh, we just found out he's only 17. He can't run in the Coliseum." And that's what put me over the edge. Instead of taking my scholarships, which I had, to anywhere I wanted to go, I showed them. I joined the Marine Corps.
So off he went to the Marines, passing up scholarships and leaving his running career in the dust. But soon he found passion for a new hobby, scuba diving.
I've always loved the ocean, and we had a Navy diver in our brig on the aircraft carrier. And he wasn't going anywhere. He was on the other side of the bars, and I was guarding him. And we started talking about diving, and he told me how easy it was. And of course, I already knew because I watched Sea Hunt on TV. So I bought all of his gear from his buddies when I got off at 8 in the morning, and I had the day off. I put it all on, drove down to the ocean and went in the water, and by some miracle I lived.
Not only did Greg lack any kind of training, but back in the day, scuba diving wasn't nearly as safe.
And in those days, there were no BCs that you inflated. There were no gauges. There was nothing to tell you when you were running out of air. And you had to kind of sense those things. You had to be a much better diver than today.
He traveled the world, serving his country and diving any chance he could.
I went to Hawaii first, then Japan, Hong Kong, Okinawa, the Philippines, dove everywhere I could. Had no idea what the dive site was. It was all just, and that was the adventure of it. It was fun.
After the Marines, he became a sea captain for charter dive boats, including the Golden Doubloon owned by famous treasure hunter Mel Fisher. He was the dive advisor for the movie Naked Gun 2.5 with actors Leslie Nielsen and George Kennedy. And then there was diving with sharks. The dive boat began offering shark expeditions, or shark tourism, sometimes from the safety of a cage, sometimes not. So it wasn't until his late 40s that he decided to take on the bagpipes. He started taking lessons and caught on quickly. Experts say it takes a good 8 years to become a skilled bagpiper. It took Greg only 1. His natural talent may have something to do with his deep Scottish heritage.
My last name is Elliot, and Elliot is the only clan that is only one family. And we don't know why that is, but I don't want to research it too much. My story is we're special.
The plaid of a bagpiper's kilt, or tartan, is unique to each clan. Greg has 4 different kinds, representing his family, 2 other bagpipe groups he's belonged to, but it's the 4th one he holds in the highest esteem.
The only group ever awarded a clan and a tartan outside of Scotland was the United States Marine Corps. Hoorah, Semper Fi.
Greg has since retired and now spends his time practicing and working on his hot rod. He keeps busy by performing free of charge at funerals for anyone in the armed forces, fire service, or law enforcement. His greatest honor was being invited to play in New York after 9/11.
We'd already put our pipes away before dinner, but we're dressed like this. And out in front of the hotel, there's this older, big Scot, and there's about 10 pipers and a couple drummers. And he stops me and my buddy, he says, "Excuse me, lad." He says, "But are you pipers?" And I said, in my best accent I could fake, I said, "Aye, that we are."
They soon found themselves in an impromptu parade.
He called out a couple tunes. He marched us right across Times Square. I don't mean in a crosswalk, right across the street at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. All the cars screeched to a stop. Nobody honked, and we saw 2 cops coming. And I thought, oh, here we go. I thought we'd last longer than this. And they stopped traffic and gave us the thumbs up. We played in every bar and every firehouse.
Wherever he's needed, he's there to share the ageless melodies of the bagpipes. And if you're ever in the area of the Santa Ana River Trail near Fountain Valley, Greg and Bentley welcome you to join them.